What it do? What it do? It's your boy BankheadTheName, straight out of Trunk Radio. Next to me is Oakland's own Benjamin. How's it going, sir?
Fantastic. How are you doing today?
Pretty good, pretty good. What brings you to HatClubLA?
So, I mean, the biggest thing is like getting a store back in Los Angeles. Like, this has been a blueprint that we've been working on since 2017. I was one of the few employees in the company who was actually a part of it when we were first kind of like mapping stuff out. So the fact that we got to this point, and it was always going to be like the Melrose strip of things, maybe not so much Melrose Spalding, but I think we found a perfect location for it. But yeah, grape to nuts, if that's the correct terminology I'm thinking of right now. 7 years gone by, and we finally opened the doors, and I couldn't be happier for it.
I love that. Can you give a little history of Hat Club?
Yeah, so the company first started back in 1992 by NBA legend Danny Ainge. 4 years later, the Stachel brothers, Stephen and Paul, bought into the company, formed a merger with Danny. Danny then went left and became the general manager of the Boston Red Sox. So the Stachel brothers, kind of took over the operation of things. First store in California, because the company was founded in Arizona. First store in California was, Ceremony in Daly City. And then expanded eventually a couple of years later into Ontario. So that was our first taste into Southern California. We've had stores, we had one at Santa Monica Pier, we had one at Topanga Mall. So to kind of be back in the Los Angeles era more specifically is a huge win for us, and more specifically for the LA community.
I'm from the Topanga area, so
nice.
I went there when I was in high school. You could get some hats, you feel me? So I remember. When did you, Hat Club, Snapbacks versus fitteds? You remember that era?
I do, because that was the funny thing was I joined the company in 2014, so we were still kind of in the thick of the snapback era. I've always been a fitted guy, just because I've worked for minor league baseball teams, I worked for Major League Baseball, I worked for a bunch of Major League Baseball teams on top of which too. So fitted was always kind of the way to go for me. And that's not any criticism of the snapback community, it was just I was just always a fitted guy. So being there from when snapbacks were still hot, then it became the dad hat movement, which I would say, kind of went into 2016, 2017. Fitteds were always still kind of there, just because old heads like myself are, still buying in the fitted game. And then we get into COVID, and that was where everything really turned a new corner, just because the fact that everything that was going on in the NoHo market, our New York store, with pink bottoms, icy bottoms, etc., and especially in a fitted style, everything started taking off from there and expanded westward finally. And, kind of here we are today. So fitteds, back on top. If it's going to be, for the next couple of years, awesome. If snapbacks decide to come back in, even cooler.
Love it, I love it. Can you talk about the brim? Are you a straight brim or are you a curved brim? Does the brim describe somebody's personality?
I think it does. I think it's just more of a characterization as far as how much effort you're going to kind of put into it. Because as a baseball player myself, I was always I'll go slight curve, because even though probably on camera it looks mine's a little bit flatter, but I haven't been working the bill as much as I usually do. But playing baseball, it's I need more, more shade in my eyes. I don't want to, lose a ball in the sun or anything like that. But nowadays, especially with a lot of the younger crowd, they're going the full-on, get a steamer, get a can, solidify it into place. So you have that full-on curve. And then even some of the snapbacks we've been dropping, the 940 style that already have the hard pre-curve. Yep. Once again, it's a win-win for everybody. Everybody kind of gets what they want. It's a combination of, especially for older people who prefer and they'll criticize about flat bills. It's no, dude, we got something for you. Or, hey, we got a steamer. We can take care of yourself behind the counter. Either way, we're going to set you up and make you look good. I
love it. Can you talk about how many in your collection? Can you give us a ballpark of how many hats you have in your collection?
I want to say at this point, and I'll admit, the last time I counted was sometime in mid-2018. And at that point, I had just crossed over into the 1,000 threshold. So here we are 5 years later, and there's a bunch of collections I went full clip on. So I would say I'm probably somewhere near the 1,700 mark.
Ooh, okay.
I'm okay with it. My wife, on the other hand, is a little bit more.
So you don't have a shoe room. You have a hat room.
Yeah. Okay. So I wish I had a shoe room, but I wear a size 15. So trying to find any kind of cool shoe, as anybody with a big foot knows, it's not exactly easy to find.
Very true. Very true. I love it. Do you have a favorite hat?
Oh man, I would say honestly. So nowadays there was a collection that we dropped. I would say within the last 2 months. It was called the 5 Stars pack. It was based on a video game. If you know the 5 stars, you know exactly where I'm going with this. But specifically with that one, it said Oakland, all black hat, Oakland written in white, the spring training Stomper head logo with the sunglasses at the side patch. But more specifically with that one, just because of the fact that I'm a diehard Oakland A's fan, I'm an Oakland native, and especially everything that's going on with the team and the possibility of them moving to Vegas, anything pro Oakland at this point, I'm 100% full in on. And that has become like my number one hat that I wear all the time.
I love it. I love it. Can you talk about, we are almost in the fourth quarter of 2023. Can you, moving fast.
Where does year go?
Real shit. You feel me? Like, damn. What's the plans for you? What you got coming up?
For me personally?
Personally, brand, business-wise?
So since the last week of February, I've, no joke, been on the road 2/3 of the year. Like, we've been hitting all the sneaker con spots. So we did Denver, Detroit, Chicago. We did the Bay Area recently. We got Dallas coming up at the end of the month, so I'm going to be there for that. Obviously, this store opening up is a major thing. I've been back and forth in New York because I still kind of like help out with things with the store there. We had a basketball tournament a couple weeks ago. God, where else have I been? Where else am I going?
Yeah, traveling. Yeah. You on the road.
Probably going to end up back in Texas at some point because, you know, Houston's been good to us. So we got to keep being good to them. East Coast, I've heard maybe DC, maybe Atlanta, because we haven't been there yet.
Ooh, I can see the Atlanta. Yeah, people need that. Hats, pins came into the game probably a couple of years ago. Yeah. Like, how serious are you in the pin game to attach a pin to a hat?
For me personally? I actually got one on this one. I'm trying to remember for the life of me who gave me this one, and I'm just completely blanking on it. I know for a fact it came from somebody in New York, so it's kind of ironic to be on an LA hat, especially with that whole East Coast, West Coast rivalry. I'll occasionally throw one on. I usually don't trick them out like a lot of other people do because it's like, that's kind of their own flavor, that's their own style. No criticism, any capacity. Some dudes rock it way better than I can. But we at Hat Club, we're the first ones to put pins on hats. Like, we started doing pins as giveaways as early as 2018.
Let them know.
Yeah. And so everything just kind of like spiraled, not necessarily out of control, but in a positive way. Snowballed was the term I was looking for. Things just got bigger with that. People in the hat community started making their own pins, trading, selling, whatever. Recoup your losses from the hats you buy, sell your pins, get more money to buy more hats, etc. It's an interesting cycle of economics right there.
Love it. I got a shirt called Words is Power. Can you give us some powerful inspiration words for our listeners?
Actually, I'll give you what's written on my tattooed on my arm.
Oh, what is it?
So it's a quote from Reuben Carter, the Hurricane boxer. For any of you guys who know.
If y'all don't know, shout out Denzel. Keep going.
Exactly.
But it's a real story though too.
It is. But it says writing is a powerful weapon, a weapon more powerful than a fist can ever be. I'm a writer. I have 2 journalism degrees and an English degree. I've always been strong in the writing game, and it's hands down one of the most prolific things I've ever heard in my life. And I definitely live and adhere to that policy.
Hey, shout out Benjamin from Oakland, you feel me? Hey, A's don't go to Vegas, you feel me? Hey, Oakland Raiders already in Vegas. It's all good though. It's all good. Hey, but you might get another basketball team though. You might get a team. You might get an
NBA team.
Yeah, you might too. It's
I ain't mad about that.
Hey,
the way WNBA's been picking up these last couple of years, especially, I mean, not to bring a Vegas into it with them win the WNBA championship last year, but as an Oregon grad, Sabrina Ionescu doing things with the New York Liberty,
killing it.
See that same thing coming back out west in the Bay.
I love it. Appreciate you for pulling up today, and shout out HatClubLA. You feel me? Hey. He part of it, you feel me? He's the recipe as well, you feel me? He had a little sprinkle in this thing. Hey, shout out, you feel me? Benjamin from Oakland.
Mwah.
Yes, sir.